Yet again, I cannot sleep. So I was having a conversation in my head. I thought, why not make a video with minimal effort? Um, Wearing this hat because my hair is unreasonably greasy right this minute. I must have exerted myself. Or whatever. I mean, I was gonna say I don't ever exert myself, but I do. I just don't feel it because I'm on autopilot. It's like I'm just putting one foot in front of the other um, because I know if I stop, I won't start again. It's been a couple of years of extreme ups and downs. Just like lots of good things happening, and then lots of terrible things happening, and then really good things happening, and really bad things happening, and just I have none of this ever. Um, so when it's up here, I'm just like, it's like being on a roller coaster and just slowly going up higher, and the higher you get, the more nervous you are about the drop that you just know is coming. And I'm trying to get out of that mindset. Um, but it's just really difficult, and I don't know. It's hard to figure out a way to not think in extremes when extremes are always hitting you back and forth like a ping pong ball. Um, I mean, I don't know. There's just so much crap going on. Mostly, I mean, it's mostly financial stresses. Like, last year almost destroyed me financially, and this year I'm still trying to recover from last year. And every time I'm almost there, some meteor falls out of the sky and knocks me back several spaces on the board. Um, so it's just really hard to keep getting back up, I guess. Like, I'm just like running out of fight. I'm just, there's always a fight. And like, there's almost always a bank involved. So, like, if you watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the stuff in the bank was so triggering for me. Oh, too real. It's hard when banks are crazy. My bank just sold to another bank, and now I have zero access to my money. Like, I got a debit card, activated the debit card, but none of my passwords work to even check my bank balance. And their parking lot is full. They aren't taking appointments, and literally not one spot in the parking lot. The bank is filled to capacity, probably because everyone is having the same problem as I am. It's just it could not have happened at a worse time. This latest meteor, like, every day that I can't put money in the bank, it's like potentially catastrophic. Like, I'm so close to either making it or not, that I just that's why I'm going on autopilot. I'm barely functional right now, to be honest. Um, because, I have a lot of hopes. Like, I have a lot of great things in my life that are going someplace potentially, if I can last that long. you know I mean, that's the thing. Like, on the other side of this month, there's either cool, now I can pursue all of these great things that are happening in life, or there's, oh, everything is over now. So my whole just, it's like I'm afraid. It's so close, and there have been so many extreme ups and downs that I am afraid to hope for the best, and I'm really bracing for the worst. And just, in a saner world, I would be expecting something in between those two extremes. Um, but, there's been this and this, but none of this. I don't even know what that's like. I've been in survival mode for so many years. And this isn't a crying, whining video. This is just a what's up video. And I'm gonna try to find a more positive and hopeful outlook by the end of this video. That's my goal. Get it out of my head. But yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. Two extreme possibilities, and I don't know how to feel. Excited that surely I'm going to get out of it, or destroyed because this little bank hiccup is the end. Like, I will not be able to overcome that before the end of this month, and I will lose everything. So, and probably because I've had a lot of extremes, but that I don't know what normal is. But I don't think that's it. I think there are some periods in life where it's supposed to just be kind of like this, and you're content and everything is good. Like you feel secure and safe. But I don't even remember the last time I felt secure and safe. Really? So this month is difficult, and I'm writing this novel, and that's not helping me tonight, because like, it's about a third of the way through the novel, there's this heartbreaking thing that happens, and it's immediately preceded by a really angry thing that happens. So I'm going through this anger with these characters, and heartbreak, and like, I had a friend coming over the other day when I wrote the angry scene, and Like I went to the store and everything enraged me. Like I was as angry at the world as my characters were at each other. Um, because I plug in. Like right now, that novel is more of a functioning reality to me than this is. I'm on autopilot up here. Down there, I'm actually processing and experiencing and feeling things. So I will pull those feelings out of that world into this one where I'm neutral, I guess. So those feelings become my feelings even if they're irrational. It's weird. I am in fact a crazy person. That's why I write novels. But yeah, so like I came home from the store and I got into a physical altercation with my refrigerator. Then I texted my friend who was coming over later and I was like, toddler Glenn needs a timeout. Gonna take some sleepy time medicine, take a nap, and hope I'm not insane when I wake up. Yeah, I told him I wrote the mad part of the novel, but I did feel better after a nap, even though I couldn't sleep. Um, but then, okay, so then I get through that, and it's the mad part, and then after that I had to write, the next day or two. Well, I'm still on it. Well, there's one heartbreak. End of Act 1 of this novel. And beginning of Act 2, there's a second heartbreaking event. And I think I'm getting, I'm doing this thing when I write where I sit like this. And I'm like, why does my neck hurt? And I don't know why I do that. And so I'm talking about writing and I'm slowly hunching over while I do it. I'm trying to be conscientious about my, no, I can't use words. It's late. I can't sleep. I'm trying to be aware of my posture because this is weird and new that I hunch over like a little old man and my neck hurts. Um, but yeah, so I had people over for dinner and I knew, I was like, crap, if writing the mad part yesterday made me not able to function properly in the world when I came back up from the land of fiction, what's writing all this heartbreak gonna do to me? So I tried to get past that scene. I tried to write like crazy to get through this, so that it's behind me and I'm not in the middle of it when I have people over and and I just got to the heartbreaking, I know what just happened. And one of the characters in that scene I just wrote, which is in a dream, but it's also real, it's like a character getting a visitation in a dream. And I know what he's waking up to. I know that this dream, what the dream means just happened in the waking world. so I'm like emotionally torn up. I was crying, like I couldn't even see the computer screen. I had so many tears writing these two back to back gut wrenching, well, three gut wrenching scenes in a row. Uh, but I mean, I have to do it because then the rest of the book is about processing that and coming through these heartbreaking events. The other 2/3 of the book are about that, about wrestling with these things and deciding what course to take. So, I wanted to get to that part where we're rising up out of these tragedies, even if barely at first, because I didn't want to be mid heartbreak when everyone came over. But yeah, so I'm like cooking dinner like a robot. My cornbread didn't cook, which normally would have triggered some sort of PTSD meltdown for me. But this time, I was just like, well, the cornbread won't cook. I felt nothing before people were coming over. Normally I'd be like, oh, the cornbread won't cook. They'll never let me live it down. So, yeah, like I have high anxiety about it, but I didn't even have anxiety about any of it. Like I was just cooking, just like soul dead cooking, like a machine. And like, I don't know, and I guess, just start, that must be why I'm feeling so down and hopeless. I mean, there is an impending potential doom days into my future, but I gotta think that the part of the book that I'm writing has made it a lot worse for me the last 2 days. Well, and the fact that I'm going through this bank stuff that's just ridiculous. And like not being able to, because my bank got bought by another bank and now they're another bank. And I mean, long story short, I haven't had access to my bank account for days. And every day is critical for me financially. So like this month especially. So that's been a bit of a meteor strike. And then trying to fight through that and writing this really sad stuff in this book. It's just heightening my emotionally negative outlook on things. Because I'm sad at something or about something, not sad at something. I'm sad about things that happen in a different reality. I look pushed down, like, fiction, but I'm an author, so it's also a very real experience for me. Like, I feel those feelings as I'm writing them. So yeah, it weighs me down. And then I do have a real world crisis going on, a real world existential crisis. And so writing the book, unlike when I had the mad day, the kind of heartbreak and hopelessness going on in this book have something in the real world to connect with and just magnify. So it's been difficult. Like, I've wanted to cancel everything all month. Like, I have a very busy month. And like everything social that I have going on, I've just really wanted to cancel it. But I also really wanted not to cancel it because it's all stuff I love doing. Like, it was my birthday. Well, cancel it isn't the word. I wanted to not even do it. Like, I just kind of wanted it to disappear. Like, forever. I'm not even kidding. That's what I wanted to do. This half of me wanted to do. That hopeless half of me wanted to just, let's just stop trying now. The other half of me is like, have a birthday party. This is, celebrate life with the people who make it worth living. That's what you want to do. Like, I just wanted to vanish. The other part just wanted to vanish. And so, I did something with just my tribe. Very small. I mean, compared to what I normally do for a birthday. But, improvement on last year's nothing because lockdown. But yeah, I mean, and I'm glad I did it. Like, whenever you're torn between how much you want to do something and how much you don't want to do something, that's, for me, I always go with the part of me that really wants to do it. I mean, unless it's like murdering someone, it's it's a positive thing that I don't want to do. But I also know that I'll be glad I did it. Always listen to that side. So, yeah, my compromise was a little tiny thing. And like, it was really good. But afterward, I was still on autopilot. It's weird. And that was before even the bank thing happened. Like, because it was already it's a tense month. And I'm just gonna barely make it. That's what makes this bank thing so ugh. And hopefully I'm going to resolve that this morning if I can get in. But I couldn't get in yesterday. I just can't get in. Can't get it fixed on the phone. It is a mess. So yeah, I mean, all of that is magnified by what I'm writing, but I have to keep writing, and it's probably a good thing to be writing because if I'm on autopilot up here, I can be processing down there, and the characters are coming through things. That's the whole arc of the book. It's like, it is a roller coaster, man, because they have this great perfect day for several chapters. Then things get worse. Then things get worse. Then things get worse. And then things get better. And, it's a roller coaster. What am I doing? Is that the Bat-2C? I don't know old people dances. I only know modern dances, like the Charleston. But right, so, it's like everything is awful and everything is awesome. It's hot and it's cold and I'm just kind of shut down So like I'm barely doing things. Like it takes all of my willpower to check the mail um, every day. And I don't want to say I'm depressed. I I could be. It's more like I'm just at peace with it. And it's not necessarily a healthy place to be. I think that's the best way to put it. It's like I'm just accepting it. Like I'm gonna make it or I'm not. Like I'm just beginning or I'm over. And like I just accept it. I'm just feeling nothing. Like, so the peace is bad because, I'm at peace with giving up. Just as much as I'm at peace with continuing to do everything, continuing to fight for, the sake of living my life rather than just surviving. That's what it is I'm so burnt out on just surviving and on always having to fight some titanic force just to survive, never to thrive. Like just, pandemic, banks, ugh. Like I could tell so many bank stories from the past year or so that have just been disasters for me to fix. Always a mistake on their end or some crooked, twisted policy change. Like, oh, we can now not only change the time of deposits and withdrawals to make sure that you overdraft, now we can change the actual dates. It's like I looked at the computer to make sure everything was clear. I looked on the online banking site, and the next day, things had been rearranged. And I called them on this, and that's what they told me. They can do that. It's just the way it is. And then, I fixing so many times, I got so many fines, and I had to call them up and say, because they stopped paying auto drafts. They just kept declining the payments and saying insufficient funds, even though it showed on there that I had more than enough funds. Like the charge was less than what I had in the bank total. So there were sufficient funds. And, I have to call up the bank and go through this all day and finally get them to look on the computer and see that yes, I had sufficient funds at the time of the auto draft. And they're like, oh, you're right, well, we will refund that. But after so many times, and they would do the same exact thing the next day. And I had to call every day and get this fixed until they finally said, well, you're now out of courtesy refunds. And I'm like, courtesy refunds? The courtesy of fixing what you broke, I'm out of those. Now you're just gonna start stealing my money? And I mean, there was a mess with my auto insurance because of it. Like, they dropped me, and I didn't know they dropped me, and because the mail was slow, and so I mean, that was one of my big things to overcome this year. I was still getting over that mess with the bank because I had to get to where I could afford car insurance again, and my rates are doubled because that's how it is in Texas. If you don't have insurance for whatever, like if you don't go straight from one insurance policy to the next, like if you just drop your insurance and then float around and then get some more insurance, your insurance doubles. Like, my insurance payment for my car is gigantic now, so it just makes it even harder. And like, taxes went way up on the house, and oh my gosh, yeah, just, and I'm so close to making it. It's just this bank thing this time is going to make it a lot harder to do, but not impossible. Because surely I'll get this fixed today. And then immediately we're on our way back up. It's just a matter of not giving up, and that's why I do go into autopilot. So I do make plans. I'm not canceling any plans. I'm just making small plans. It might take every ounce of my energy to reply to a text message, because that requires me to think. That's what it is. That's what autopilot is. I'm just not thinking, trying not to think about stuff because I don't want to shut down. Everything's so stressful and overwhelming. And if like my birthday, I have so many messages and notifications on social media waiting right now, but I'm not here. I mean, I'm coasting. Anything that requires me to think or feel outside of writing my current novel, I just don't want to do it. I don't have the energy. It's weird. But yeah, then I can cook dinner for like 10 people, and but you know, I was still in a snit kind of when they came over. Like, I just wasn't able to cope with things. Like, I still had like anger and heartbreak from my book, so like, I don't know, so I was fighting like kind of an irrational temper all night. It got better pretty fast. Socializing is healthy for the reclusive author. But yeah, like all the work of setting up, I was just coasting. I wasn't really present in the moment. And then when it's relaxing with people, I'm good. But then I go right back into autopilot mode. It's like, wake up because you have to, eat because you have to, do this, do that because you have to survive. But don't do anything else. Like, fight with the bank because you have to. So, like, I don't know. I mean, this one's kind of a downer. It's just where I'm at, man. I mean, everybody hits bumps. I feel like I've been driving over boulders for years. But it always gets better. Like, I'm always glad when I do the whole one foot in front of the other, just keep going thing. It's always worth it because there's always something waiting on the other side of a funk. Like, I can say that, if everything crashes and burns, I'm done. I don't want to start over. I'm not going to start over. Like, there's part of me that, that is the absolute truth. I'm done. I'm out of fight. I just don't have any more fight. Like, and that part of me looks at autopilot as just not caring. But the other part of me looks at autopilot as fight. Because, like, I am knocked out, but I'm still moving. So, that's fight. So, yeah, like, that's what I'm wrestling with. That's why I go numb. Because part of me is like give up and part of me is fight. And fight always wins, Like, I don't know what will happen if everything goes down the drain for me this month. And that dark part of myself says, yes, you do. You know how to do it. But, well, I would say I haven't known what giving up looks like since 4th grade. There was a dark moment when I truly did give up in 4th grade. And I hung myself with a belt. Didn't know what I was doing, apparently. In 4th grade, I wasn't equipped to tie an effective noose, but the fact is I did it. Like, that's giving up. Like, I was irritated that I was just hanging there in the belt with it around my head and I wasn't dead. I was just waiting to die. And then my mother, this is a dark story, man. Then my mother called me for dinner and I was like, well, I might as well. And got myself out of that situation and went and ate dinner. But yeah, 4th grade was a very, man, I could tell you, I don't want to go there right now. It just, all the bad things from life. Like, I don't want to talk about it. But, I mean, yeah, I just realized that, yes, I have done it before. I almost did it last year. This is getting so dark. But I was interrupted. And, by a knock on my door, two of my kids came in and, and for the first time I told someone how bad it was. Like last year, it was that bad. That's the scary thing for me. Like, look, I'm not. Like, if I were talking to my shrink right now, which I basically am, I would point out that I am not planning to commit suicide right now. I am not there. I'm not, right this minute, suicidal, but it's like I have a fear of becoming suicidal. And that's like my worst case scenario brain game, that part of my self is like, give up, you know how to do it. You have done it. You would have done it again and much more effectively just last year. If, you hadn't actually talked to people and things turned around and started getting better. But, okay, so yeah. But even then, okay, see, that's the thing. Like, even last year, like when I got to that point, and I should talk about that. Like, I should say just what it was like to get to that point and why I worry about extreme lows and that are possibly up and coming, because I know that I can get there, from experience. And even when I knew I was going to do it, when I was just done, like it's a mental illness. Like, you have blinders on and you don't see the other possibilities, you just see, this hurts, I gotta get out, and I have options. It's like a realization. It's an empowering epiphany, to feel like you're in this inescapable bad place, and then to realize it isn't inescapable after all. That's kind of where your head goes, and then that's the only escape you can see, and it's all you can feel is the need for it, and then like it calms you down. At least that's how it was for me. That's how it was for me when I hung myself in 4th grade. I was like, thank God, finally. I don't have to go to school tomorrow. Where all the kids at the new school just decided to hate me. It was so awful. I wasn't prepared for just how terrible being bullied by an entire school could be. It was a new experience for me, because I always, before and after, have easily made friends in new social settings. But anyway, digression, just a little hint of why I was there in 4th grade. I mean, there was other stuff going on too, but that was the biggest one. But yeah, so I'm just like calm about it even then. Like at peace with it. And like last year, and I mean, this is a positive thing I'm telling you, like, that I'm getting to, with all this dark stuff. But last year when I got there, I I was at peace with it, you know? I was just like, oh, so yeah, I feel good about this now because I made the decision. And I'm like, yeah, I get to go now. I don't have to worry about any any bills. I don't have to worry about any responsibilities or unprocessed grief or anything that I've been crushed by. I don't have to worry about financial ruin and losing everything because I'm done with this dumb story. This is the worst story ever. Let's just... And then he killed himself. The end. It's not funny. I mean, it's like tragically funny. No, I mean, it's really not funny at all. I'm just like laughing at it as a defense mechanism. But yeah, so the thing that was different from fourth grade, it's like, yeah, I'm at peace with it. And I feel so calm about it. You know, just, this is going to be easy. It's going to be like that, and I'm going to be out. But there was still a part of me, the fight part, was still there. And that's how strong my fight really is. And the fight part was reach out on Facebook to your group chat with the kids, with your tribe. Just give them some kind of a warning. Like, because you're probably gonna be better off if you don't do this. Like, you're probably gonna be glad you didn't do this tomorrow. Even though the rest of my entire mind was like, thank God I don't have to do tomorrow. But yeah, so that was the overwhelming thing going on in my mind, was time to go. And this is good, and this is peaceful, and this is, you know, you don't owe the world anything. And it's good, it's okay to go. That's where my brain was. But still, and that's the thing, like, I didn't want to warn anybody. I didn't want to hurt anybody, but I also was kind of like, I don't owe that to anybody. You know? People are gonna be hurt. That's just part of being human. Like, my brain, like, rationalizing it, I was, you know, crazy. That's where you get when you're that beat down. You go crazy. and your instinct for survival gets wrecked. Um, and all you can think is, gosh, I don't want to be here. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I suffering? And I mean, the isolation last year is really what, because I live alone, and it's like isolation, financial disaster. And I'm like taking so long to tell this story. but yeah, so part of me is the fight part, which is about that big at this point, versus the all the rest of me that is the flight part. Just put that in my head. And again, I'm at peace. And I'm like, that is rational. Like, I don't want to be talked out of this. And that was true. I did not want to be talked out of it. And that's why I didn't want to give anybody any warning. That's the scariest part. Retrospectively. Looking back on it. That's why I fear getting into this state of mind. It's because it can't be reasoned with easily, But it doesn't care about anything. So that was the scariest part of this, is that I know when I'm in that state of mind, I do not want people to catch on. And that's where my internal behaviors go this month when I get into those more hopeless mindsets, because things are happening and I'm just like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to start over. And immediately do my best to not let on that things are not okay, because I don't want to be stopped. I don't want to be talked out of it. It's so scary. And but the story I've been trying for a million years to tell is the part that makes it not as scary, because I would have to give up 100% like I did in 4th grade, which I have not done since. 4th grade, I did it. It just didn't work. Last year I almost did it, but my subconscious fight particle that remained self-sabotaged my efforts by convincing me that it was fair to both myself and the people I don't want to hurt. That's the thing, I don't want to hurt anyone by doing this. But I also was hurting so much myself that I wanted to end my pain more than I wanted to prevent other people's pain. Their pain would just be grief. It wouldn't be hopelessness and giving up on life. It wouldn't be constant torture and just to be, being in survival mode for years, it wouldn't be as bad as what I would. That's what my head was saying, you know. But the non-giving up on me part convinced me to do that. So I put a vague message in the face group chat. But it wasn't, I was like, I don't want them to know. I don't want them to stop me. Like, really, it's like there were two people in my head. Like, I am a crazy person. So, well, I mean, not really. But it's like I had two agendas going on simultaneously. Like, fight part was like, warn them. Flight part was like, don't let them know. They will only try to stop you. You've got to get out of here. So I did something to appease both. Both desires. Like, I'll give them something, an invitation to come by, or I don't remember what I said. Just something weird, like, if anybody feels like stopping by, I'm around. Like, it was something just like that, that's it. It wasn't, I'm about to commit suicide. Come talk me out of it. But, you know, I didn't think anyone would come by. I honestly thought, okay, I've given fate an opportunity to turn this around. I don't want to turn it around, and I don't think anyone is going to pick up on what I posted as an actual distress thing, but I did put something out there. So we're good, let's go. Let's give them X amount of time. I don't remember exactly, but I was just really at peace. I was like, alright, if nobody comes, I'm gonna go. And it's gonna be so great. Like, I don't even care. I'm not gonna be all, oh, what have I done? I'm gonna be all, cool, I'm gonna go to space. That's where my head was. Or, you know, if there is no afterlife, then at least I won't be in this anymore. Like, that was the way my brain was working. I had no fear of consequences. Nothing about any of that, about afterlife or no afterlife, felt like a consequence to me. It's like escape. I don't know if I'm going to post this video. But you know what? I think I should. I mean, that's what this channel is for me, is I want to chronicle my experience. I want to be one of those randos that some kid in the 26th century does a history report on life in the 21st century. Here's what it was like from this random person's perspective. Here's all his social media and his videos. Here he is telling you in his own voice. That's what it's about, so why would I leave out the really dark parts? Why would I sugarcoat things. I mean, this is a human experience. Humans are rare, if not unique, in the animal kingdom, to the best of my knowledge, as far as being capable of committing suicide. Intentionally. You know, not like a dumb animal, like a herd running off a cliff. They're not trying to kill themselves. They're just dumb. I think dolphins have... I think there's case studies of dolphins who have committed suicide, but don't quote me on that. Like, look it up. I want to say I read that somewhere, but I don't know. It was such a crazy story. About a trainer and a dolphin having an affair. But it was presented as our true, like I don't remember the source. That's why I'm saying don't quote me. I just remember saying this is real, this is a true story, but it still seems incredible to me. So that's what I'm saying. We're rare, if not unique. So why pretend that doesn't happen, you know? Why not share this video? And you know, that's the thing too, like, I only gave up once in 4th grade, and it didn't work out. And on the other side of that was dinner. And dinner didn't solve all my problems, but I did feel better after dinner. And then 5th grade came around, and I decided I no longer care what these weird Dallas kids think of me. Like, they can bully me, say mean things to me. You know, my crime was that I moved in the middle of the school year. So, and most of these kids were like, well, I won't know most of them, but I guess the ringleaders were a lot of privileged little rich kids. So, I don't know, man. Kids. But yeah, like, my attitude changed. It's kind of like I went to 5th grade and I'm like, you know what, on the other side of this is dinner. So, get through it. How do you get through it? Don't care. And you know, like, in every other social setting I had friends. So school was like this nightmare that didn't make any sense. There was literally no way to solve it because I hadn't done anything to deserve that kind of treatment from the kids. All I did was show up in the middle of the year as the new kid. But I guess, you know, that was kind of the change that happened when I survived my first suicide, my only suicide attempt. I mean, because ideation isn't the same as actually doing it. I only actually did it once. Um, but yeah, coming out on the other side of it and things getting even just a little bit better was the lesson, and I had a better time in 5th grade, in 6th grade. Um, I made one friend who I'm still friends with today. But things started getting better. Um, and then got out of that elementary school, like, school was never great. Like, I never wanted much to do with school people. But I always did. I had a few friends, but most of them weren't let's hang out kind of friends. My hangout kind of friends were elsewhere. But if that suicide attempt had worked, like, things would never have started getting progressively better. So by the time, when I was a teenager, I had so many very close friends. Just, life was great. Some of the best times in my life I would not have had if I had known how to hang myself properly. And I think all the ups and downs in life have proven that over and over again. And almost never at a down in life do I get to time to go mode. Like, that's incredibly rare. It's just the fact that I am aware that I am capable of that. But all the ups and downs prove that. Like, on the other side of every down is another up. And sometimes you get to coast up here for a while rather than coasting down here. And I'm coasting just in the middle, in the neutral. I'm like, I don't care if I make it or not. I'm cool either way. I'm just going through the motions because my fight doesn't stop. So, because no matter how hopeless I'm feeling on some subconscious level, I know there's something better on the other side of whatever this is, however bad this gets. And that's why I sent out that little note, and lo and behold, 2 of my kids knocked on the door and got it out of me. I wasn't planning to I didn't tell them how bad it was, but I told them what a hard time I was having, Like, it came up. They asked me how I was doing, and I started crying. Like, that never happens to me. But it was that bad. Like, something had to break that night, And then immediately, things are more hopeful. Because I'm no longer dealing with it alone. And it was all that little booby trap I gave myself. But what terrifies me is how lame it was. And how, it was designed to be easily dismissed. Just, I'm around if anybody wants to come over. Like, that would only probably raise a red flag because it's weird. Like, it's just a weird thing to say. But it's not like overt. It's like, well, Glenn's being weird. There's a shock. Moving on. But, in my right mind, I would never do that. Just when things are as potentially devastating as the end of this month could be, in a worst case scenario, I worry about getting into that state and my fight just barely having any strength left but still there, and I send up some sort of lame smoke signal. A smoke signal that's like, do not look over here. If you can do that, and something deliberately pathetic that could be ignored, and it might be ignored. And if I'm in that state of mind that I was in last year, or in 4th grade, I'm gone. That's what scares me. But, I mean, that's why going through the motions is fight. It's not giving up. Like, part of me wants to say that I have already given up. That's why I'm just lethargically shuffling through life. But no, the truth is, I have not given up. Which is why I am still cathartically shuffling through life. I don't know. Like, yeah, that was really dark. But, yeah, so a lot's been going on. That's I guess the gist of that. That's what I wanted to get out. Without being specific about anything. And there's a lot of good stuff, there's a lot of bad stuff, or challenging stuff. But I still have time to fix it. I'll get this bank thing resolved. So sick of bank things. But yeah, and then I just have to work my butt off and everything will be fine by the end of this month. And if it's not, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if I get there, I don't think I'll get there, if that makes sense. Like, if everything falls out from under me, I think the fact that there are so many good things in my life and so many good people in my life will mean that I don't get that hopeless. That once I have lost everything and realize that I'm still standing, I'll see that I've lost everything I had that I thought mattered. I still have everything I have that does matter. And I have more options about what direction to go from here than I have ever had before. So I think when I look at it like that, I won't be seeing suicide as an option. Because, yeah, I haven't given up since 4th grade. And I guess that's my point. The one last year, I didn't actually fully give up, or I wouldn't have reached out for attention at all. And who knows, like, that's what's scary. Like, maybe I would have done it, or maybe my fight would have found something else to convinced me I needed to do first. So, I think I'll be fine. I'm not posting this video to scare people. I mean, it is October, I guess that's what we're supposed to do, but this would not be an appropriate scare, I guess. But yeah, I'm not trying to scare or worry people. I'm recording myself for posterity. I'm recording my experience. And it's important to hear that, I think, that things get hard, but there's always dinner on the other side if you hang yourself wrong. I don't know. It's a little bit like saying, I don't know, I was thinking earlier, it's like there's, the statistics are really high. Like for suicide, if you're LGBTQ or a novelist or a dentist, like all three categories have really high suicide rates compared to other groups. And, so I wake up every morning and I just think, thank God I'm not a dentist. It's a little bit like saying that, to say I've got this little thing that might stop me from killing myself. But yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't think I'll get there. I think I'll get really down. But I think I'll come through. Like, I don't think it'll last for years that I'll be down. I think I'll bounce pretty high. But I don't know how. I don't know what I'll do. But there will be so many possibilities that suicide wouldn't appeal. But yeah, there's always something better on the other side if you just push through the crap. So, I'm not saying I'm suicidal. I'm saying I'm really down and it kind of scares me. But I think I'm going to be fine. And I'm going to keep, writing this novel and processing anger and sadness. And as the characters heal, so will I. And everything will be fine. I'm laughing again because it's not funny, but yeah, everything's gonna be fine. So, is that an okay place to leave this video? Like, I really am worried that people are gonna be worried. It's like, duh, you just talked about the time you tried to kill yourself when you were like 9. Yeah, I'm not going to apologize for saying what I said in this video. But I do want to make it very clear that I am not in any way presently suicidal, and I'm actually pretty optimistic about things. It's just ups and downs. And I just happen to be in a down and feel like talking it out with someone in the middle of the night, and you all just happen to be there. That's all this is. Just talking it out, getting the poison out, is what I'm doing. Like, my uncle Larry, many an interesting story begins with that phrase. Like, my Uncle Larry was at a family gathering once and came up to me and my cousin. We were like 6 or so, like we were little kids. And he like comes up to brag about how a snake bit him, but he was fine because he just like cut a chunk out of his hand and got the venom out, so he didn't have to go to the doctor. Like, he could do it himself. If Uncle Larry saw fear, he would have shot it. Like, I don't know. But so he got bit by a snake, right? And then he like has this big bandage on his hand. And so he shows us. He like pulls the bandage back and shows us this gory chunk that he's carved out of his hand. And he laughs like an insane person. I wonder why. And like goes on into dinner. And my cousin and I are just looking at each other like, Uncle Larry's crazy, right? But I mean, the point of that story was that's what I'm doing here. I'm your crazy Uncle Larry, showing you the gory chunk I just carved out of my own hand to survive, getting the venom out. Poison out of my head. Because that's the thing too. You keep something inside your head, it just bounces around. Like, you don't hear it. I feel like I process my thoughts better when I hear them. Or not better, but differently. It's like proofreading my thoughts. To hear them out loud. Like, that's an interesting thought. Let's see what it sounds like outside of the head. Oh, that sounds absolutely insane. Let's change course. So, talking to yourself is good for you. But yeah, that's all. Just making it clear. I know I'm rambling. It's what I do in the dead of night on YouTube for some reason. But I am not in danger. Like, I'm gonna be fine. Yeah, I'm gonna be fine. So, dang, what time is it? Well, it's time for breakfast or something. It's 3:46 in the morning. Yep, 3:46. So, I'm gonna go do something or other. I'm gonna go live my life. So, that's all for now. You know, if you're feeling hopeless, I very much recommend giving yourself an opportunity to get out of it. You know, talk to somebody. Talk to your camera in the middle of the night and post it on YouTube. I mean, there's always a way to get it out of your head. That's the thing. Get it out of your head. Anyway. Happier topics next time, I hope. Until then, thanks for sitting up with me.